Hello, my name is Bill Keach and I work for Sunbelt Computer Software. Today I'd like to discuss the JSON or JSON data object. Now, you can either use JSON or with the coming 10.8a JSON data as the name of the UDA item to describe this object. What this object is an object that will store and manipulate JSON formatted data. Asking our Sunbelt PL assistant, ChatGPT, will give us a nice little overview talking about that is a GUI runtime object. It means that you need to compile it with the GUI version of a PLB-CMP, meaning the GUI flag must be on. But the operations are available under the Linux runtime. It allows you to retrieve field names, read numbers or strings, delete fields, evaluate arrays and indexes, check for syntax errors on the parsing, and of course it also allows you to create or add things to the JSON fields. Now if we move down, it talks about some of the various methods, the ability to use indexed arrays inside this as well, error handling. It shows you some samples as an example of declaring an array, and in this case it would give me options of saying would I like a full list of methods and other examples as well, but I think we're going to go on and just take a look at some sample programs that I've created. In our first program, what we're going to do is parse off the data that would be returned by a jQuery event in the arg1. We make a sample of this data, move it into JSON string, and we start by using the parse method to put it into the JSON object. Now you notice we didn't need to create a JSON object first. We can just parse the data right into it. Then we use the methods getString and getNumber to get the fields that we pass in. So in this case, we pass in the type, we pass in the ID as the names, the giving will return us the various values. When we run this program, the results come out to be the values that we expect. This is a very simple way of accessing a JSON object. In the second program, we're just going to make actually some JSON data up and use an index to manipulate an array. So in this case, we're going to start by doing a set string. If you notice, the name in this case has the top object and then the field he wants. You don't need to create any kind of objects level by level. You can put something as long as you want in, and we will just make the objects underneath it as required. In this case, set a string of name. In the next case there, what we do is we start adding strings in to an array using the $1 index. So in this case, we want to have an array with 3 phone numbers in it. All we need to do is use $1. In this case, it gets substituted with whatever value is in index 1. So the rate 0 is that phone number, at 1, at 2, and we have 3 phone numbers in. If, of course, we want to display the phone numbers, we can do a get string, giving temp, and once again using person, phones, number 1, and of course index as the number. Then, of course, we can store our entire JSON string using store right into some text. We'll show it there. We'll then do a reset. We will parse in the text we stored before, and then once again we'll come around and we'll take a look at getting the strings out. Now you notice that if the status is not 0, there's an error, and we do have a method called syntax error that will return the error that was given for the syntax. Now let's run it and see what happens. There we go. The third program we're going to look at is very, very basic. Basically, we end up parsing off some JSON information, getting 2 results, changing one field inside, and then Basically this time, instead of doing a store string, what we do is we actually get a string into result with the name of nothing in it. When you do a get string, if it's to an object, you will get an entire JSON string. If it's to an array, you'll get that array string in there. So get string can actually be used to extract out any type of data from any level. Get number, on the other hand, if you end up asking to get a number from an array, it will actually return you the number of elements in that array. So let's run this and see what happens. So in this case, you'll see that we get the full JSON string back. So this means that we could actually ask at any level for the JSON string. So you can get substrings that are JSON objects out of a parsed JSON object. The final program is much like the second program, except down here we call a method called getNames that will actually return us the field names inside person. So in this case, let us run it. We'll see the result. It tells us the names are name and phones in there. And this method can be used so that you can query the actual JSON data that comes into you. Well, I hope you've liked the brief discussion we've had of the new JSON or JSON data object that exists in PLB, and hopefully you'll get good usage out of it in the future. Thank you for listening. Goodbye.